What is up, football fans? I'm doing another one back to back. Let's go. Izzy from Built in Buffalo. Yes, sir. This is my personal channel where I'm doing my own personal thing. But I am on the Buffalo Bills Network every Friday in the Red Zone Report. Don't forget to check out all of Built in Buffalo's podcasts on the the Built in Buffalo Podcast Network. Also, Built in Buffalo's YouTube channel, and we have a page on Facebook, Built in Buffalo, Buffalo Bills News. So check us out. We appreciate having all the fans from, any team really, as long as you're respectful, in most of those forums. But in our live streams on YouTube, anything goes. You can get in the thing and talk crap if you want. You can, talk Bills, bring up football points, stuff like that, things that you liked, kids and my dog, right? Next one is the Bears. So, Chicago Bears, they retained Allen Robinson on a franchise tag. They lost Kyle Fuller to the Broncos. They actually cut him. The Broncos picked him up. Then they picked up Desmond Trufant from the Lions, former Falcon. Pretty good corner. Didn't have that great year in Detroit, but it's Detroit, so, Matt Patricia and all that. They lost Bobby Massey. He's still a free agent, so he's out there. Mitchell Trubisky, they did not enact his fifth-year option. So this was his contract year last year, and he was let go. He is now a Buffalo Bill. Now, they had other plans at quarterback, but they had taken some time to get there, and not bad. In exchange, they got former Buffalo Bill, Eagle, and 49er Marquise Goodwin to the Bears. He gets injured a lot, but if he's healthy, that man's electric. He ran a 4.27. I always root for Marquise Goodwin. Great person. Sad for his family when he lost his baby. Overall, good dude. He deserves better. Not from football, but in life. I mean, for football too, if he can stay healthy. But that's kind of no one else's fault. But the baby thing, God bless him. Cordero Patterson, wide receiver, is now a Falcon. He's technically a wide receiver, running back, kick returner. He should be an OW, offensive weapon. That's what he is. He's not a wide receiver per se. He can play wide receiver at times. He's not the best route runner, but if he gets the ball in open space, watch out. They then picked up from the Lions Christian Jones, linebacker, and Elijah Wilkinson, right tackle from the Broncos. So they're looking to beef up their lines for their new quarterback who they drafted, who we'll discuss in a little bit. Then they lost Roy Robertson Harris, interior defensive lineman. They lost him to the Jaguars. The Jaguars have been picking up guys all, from everywhere. When I get to their video, it's going to be interesting because they had the number one overall pick. They signed Andy Dalton from the Cowboys, mostly from the Bengals, so let's be real. He'll probably start the season at quarterback, but he's probably going to lose the job unless he plays outstanding for the whole year, at which point he may be traded, later on. Damian Williams, running back from the Chiefs. Wow, okay. I figured they might try and keep him, but he's a Bear now. He signed to a $1.5 million deal with with $1 million guaranteed. So, 2/3 of his contract are guaranteed. So he's going to be on the team. Pat O'Donnell, punter, they retained him. Demetrius Harris, they lost him. Mario Edwards Jr., they retained him. They got Demir Bird, wide receiver from the not Panthers. I think he did play for the Panthers, but latest was with the Patriots. I think he played for the Patriots, Panthers, and Cardinals, if I'm correct. But I could be wrong. He is a speedy receiver, and he's working them hands, though. I remember last year when the Patriots played the Bills, Cam hit him in the hands, and he dropped it, and it was possibly a touchdown, if not a first down in the red zone. That Patriots offense was rough. There was no help. He's not a number one wide receiver. They didn't really have a number one wide receiver, so you could call any of them number one. Edelman was out. Now he's retired, so whatever. Jeremiah Tauchu from the Broncos is now a Bear. Deion Bush was retained, and they lost Sherrick McManus. I'm guessing he really wasn't that much of a loss because he's not signed anywhere else. Barkevius Mingo is now a Falcon. John Jenkins is now a Dolphin. Dwayne Harris is not on the team anymore, and he's not signed. So, I guess that speaks to what he was about. Now, there's a bunch of retentions here. They were able to keep Tashawn Gibson, solid safety. Patrick Scales, long snapper, so you don't see a lot of long snapper movie going on. Artie Burns, corner. Jermaine Ifedi, right guard. DeAndre Houston Carson, safety. I don't know anything about him, so he's probably, a rookie on a rookie deal or some guy that they picked up for depth. Interior defensive lineman Brent Irving came from the Cowboys. Went to the Cowboys, excuse me. They lost also Daniel McCullers, interior defensive lineman. He's a free agent. They were able to keep Cairo Santos. They were able to get Angelo Blackson, interior defensive lineman from the Cardinals. They lost Jason Spriggs. They lost Rashad Coward over to the Steelers. J.P. Holtz was retained. DeAndre Carter is now a Washington football teamer, whatever that means. James Vaughn, edge rusher, was retained. Eddie Pinheiro was released, or his contract was up, but they didn't keep him. He was a kicker. They kept Cairo, so I'm guessing he's going to be their guy. They retained Joshua Woods, Ryan Nall, Alex Bars, Michael Joseph, Badara Trader, and Reggie Davis. Wide receiver is Davis. Right tackle is Trader. Joseph is a corner. Bars is a guard. Nall is a running back. And Woods is a linebacker. So those guys are all probably depth pieces. I don't know really any of their names, so we'll just leave it at that. Now, their draft was real interesting because they traded up in round 1 to go get a quarterback in Justin Fields. And they still have Andy Dalton, and they have Nick Foles on the roster. So Justin Fields is going to have competition for that job. I'm not saying he's not going to get the job because he was drafted in the first round, so he's going to get the job eventually. But he's going to have some veterans to fend off, for this year if he wants to play this year. Personally, I would sit him for a little while, but that's just me. I have my take on quarterbacks and sitting. Josh Allen, jumped in, and he was pretty bad his first few games. And then after he got hurt in the Houston game his first year, sat for a little while. When he came back, he looked better. He honestly looked better. And it was just from sitting behind Matt Barkley and Derek Anderson for a few weeks. So, good on him. Glad that, he was able to go out there and learn from some elder statesmen. But round 1, Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. Round 2, offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. They didn't have a 3rd or 4th round pick, but in the 5th round, they took another tackle. So they doubled up at tackle like the Bills did. And then they signed or drafted Larry Borum from Missouri. That's the tackle in the 5th round. Round 6, they had 3 picks. So, they had some depth picks going on there. Running back Khalil Herbert from Virginia Tech. Wide receiver Daz Newsome from North Carolina, who I really like. I did like Daz Newsome a lot. He's a Bear now, and he's got a quarterback who should be able to use him. Daz Newsome is a really solid skill player. He can go out there and do most of anything that you want him to do. He's a smaller guy, though. He's only 5'10", 185. And he's 21 years old, so he's got time to grow into his body still. He may still grow, an inch or two in height, and maybe put on 5-10 pounds in his playing career because he's going to have a playing weight. But he's going to be a contributor in the return game, quite possibly. I really like Daz Newsome. He was a player I'd like the Bills to look at in the later rounds. But you know what? There's a ton of players in the draft that you think your team should take, and they don't take them. So that's that. Also, round 6, defensive back Thomas Graham Jr. from Oregon. Honestly, I don't know much about him. But he's 5'10", 195, and 21 years old as well. So it looks like they went youth in round 6 is what you really want to do because these guys got to develop anyway. And what better way for them to develop than to be on a pro roster? That's how you develop. You go out there, you get on that pro roster, and you show that you have it or you don't. His work ethic and his physical abilities is what's going to keep him on that team or not. Then, round 7, defensive tackle Khyiris Tonga, BYU. Now, Khyiris Tonga is 6'2", 326, so he's most likely a 1 technique. He's a big old Samoan dude like a Star Lotulelei. I don't know if they're all Samoan, but I just like to put that on them because Samoans are big, man. They're big dudes. But Star Lotulelei, dude down in Tampa, Vita Vea, is a big dude. Domata Peko was a big Polynesian dude. Tyson Alawalu, another big Polynesian dude. Those big Polynesian dudes usually end up as 1 techniques. They sit there and they eat blocks up. He's a little older though. He's 24. 6'2", 326. So he's probably going to be a rotational 1 technique on their defense. A solid draft, I think. They could have done more, in my opinion, just because the Bears needed a bunch of things, but their defense is stout, right? Their defense has always been pretty good. And this draft was almost entirely offense. Like the first 5 picks were all offense, and then it was corner and defensive tackle, which they're solid at, I believe. So, hey, the Bears defense was solid already. As I said, they really needed to focus on that offense because that offense was kind of subpar. And you can blame it on Mitch Trubisky, you can blame it on the coaching staff. Really, it's probably a combination of the two not fitting together, not meshing together, even though Matt Nagy said he came to Chicago for Trubisky. And Trubisky had a 3,700, yard season. So he's not a slouch when it comes to being able to play, but you have to put him in position. He's not a true franchise quarterback. He can win you some games. He went 29-21 with the Bears. He's not there anymore. But they did get Justin Fields, who I liked in the draft. I liked him better than Mac Jones, excuse me. I think he's more pro-ready than Trey Lance, but I think Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson all have more upside. But, dude, Justin Fields is a baller. He's going to go out there and he's going to play well, I believe, as long as Nagy goes out there and does the right things for him. Hopefully, Nagy doesn't, screw it up and then get himself fired, and then some new coach is going to come in and is like, I don't believe in Justin Fields, and they got to draft another one and ruin another young career. So I'd hate to see that happen. But, I think they had a solid offseason. If I was a Bears fan, it wouldn't be the greatest, but you got your quarterback, you got some linemen to protect him, and you got some weapons. So they did what they were supposed to do. But that's my take on the Bears. Good luck to them. Go Bills.